Hi, I'm Rich Torrey. Welcome to another Level Up Cartooning. All you ever need to follow along with me is a pencil and paper. It doesn't get any easier than that, right? So having finished our tour of characters from Nickelodeon's golden years, I was tinkering with the idea of touring Cartoon Network's finest from those years when it dawned on me that it's been a while since we focused on some of the basics of cartoon character drawing, like hands. Oh, I know, I can hear the groaning from here. No one likes to practice drawing hands, but it's very important that we conquer them, as hands play a huge role in any expressive or action pose. Just as an example, look at these sketches of Tom and Jerry done by Oscar Martin. Look at how the hands help the overall expression of the two characters. In fact, I'd say they are equally as important as the facial features. Anyway, today we're going to focus on the classic four-fingered cartoon hands. In other words, 3 fingers and a thumb. That said, we're going to draw a few variations of that four-fingered hand to underscore the fact that within the parameters of a four-fingered cartoon hand, there are many variations or styles. I've picked the hands of 3 well-known characters for our lesson, starting with SpongeBob. Then we're going to draw the meaty mitts of Peter Griffin from Family Guy. And we'll finish off with Tom from Tom and Jerry. Tom's hands, which other than size, color, and of course the occasional claw, are almost indistinguishable from Jerry's. I'll talk more about each individually as we go to draw them coming up. But for now, I'll just say that there's more than one way to draw classic cartoon hands, which you should keep in mind when designing your own character's hands. As I've said many times, hands are at the top of most people's lists of hardest things to draw and least favorite to practice. And I found the best way to approach hand lessons is to keep them bite-sized and simple. That's what this lesson is all about. Bite-sized and simple. All right? Anyway, before we get started, make sure you hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button, as it helps this channel to grow, and hit the bell so you never miss a lesson. All right? So what do you say we draw some classic cartoon characters' hands? Okay, so today we'll be starting with SpongeBob's hands. If you look closely at his hands, you'll see spaces between his fingers, very similar to the early Disney characters' hands. We're going to start with a circle for the palm, then map out a simple but expressive fingers, starting with the closest digit. I say expressive fingers because each finger has a little curve to it that adds a little flow or energy to the overall appearance of the hand. Okay, so let's draw some examples of SpongeBob SquarePants hands. All right, there you have it, SpongeBob's hands. Next, we're going to draw the beefy hands of Peter Griffin from Family Guy. The style of Peter's hands are very similar to all the characters on Family Guy, although his are a bit bigger or chunkier. The Family Guy style of hands have very short, stubby sausage thumbs and fingers, with little or no flow or curve to them. In a word, they're utilitarian. I've added the hand pose Peter strikes in many scenes with his hands on his hip, which reminds me a little of Popeye's hands. That said, like SpongeBob, we're still going to start the hand by mapping out the palm as an oval or a circle, then building the fingers and the thumb, starting with the closest digit. Okay? So let's try a few examples of Peter Griffin hands. Alrighty, there you have it, some Peter Griffin mitts. So next we're going to go to somewhat of a more expressive and probably a little more challenging hand, those of Tom from Tom and Jerry. As you can see, Tom's hands have a little bit of the same feel as Mickey Mouse's white gloves. Maybe not quite the length of fingers, but similar in their expressiveness, making them a little more tricky to draw. That said, once again, we will start by mapping out the palm of the hand with an oval or a circle, then building the fingers and the thumb, starting with the closest digit. Okay, so what do you say we try some hands from Tom and Jerry? Okay, and that's how you do it. There you have it. Examples of different styles of classic four-fingered cartoon hands, care of SpongeBob, Peter Griffin, and Tom from Tom and Jerry. So how do you think you did? Understand, if you've never tried some of these different styles of four-fingered hands, let alone different hand poses, you can't expect to draw them perfectly. Don't let the fact that hands are challenging take the fun out of it. You want to enjoy it. Embrace that challenge. That's really what it's all about. I want to promise you that each time you draw any of these hand styles and poses, they're going to get a little easier and you're going to get a little better. I also promise the more you work with me, the better you're going to get at all of your cartoon characters. Okay, so I want to see your SpongeBob, Peter Griffin, and Tomcat's four-fingered hands. If you can, take a picture and post it on either Facebook or Instagram, and don't forget to include the hashtag #LevelUpCartooning. Also, if you want to expand on this lesson, I offer 2 suggestions. First, try drawing SpongeBob's hands in the poses of the other 2, and do the same with Peter Griffin and Tom's hands in the other poses. And secondly, pick some of your favorite cartoon characters and see how their hands differ from what you just drew. I hope you found this lesson helpful and interesting. Remember to subscribe, and thanks for joining me. Until next time, keep drawing, my friends.